Every surgeon has a moment where they realize the public has been lied to. And mine happened inside an operating room at 3:14 in the morning. A man in his 70s came in with a failing heartbeat. Yet, he wasn't overweight. He didn't smoke. He wasn't eating poorly. What shocked us was what triggered his collapse. It wasn't his diet. It wasn't genetics. It was a common everyday exercise he had been doing for years because he believed it was good for his heart. But on that operating table, we saw the truth. Certain movements, when done the wrong way or at the wrong age, can overload the heart's electrical system, spike blood pressure to dangerous levels, and create inflammation inside the coronary vessels that no treadmill can ever undo. And the terrifying part is that millions of seniors are still doing these exercises every single day, believing they're protecting their health, when they're actually pushing their hearts closer to arrhythmias, valve strain, and silent muscle damage. I spent more than 25 years in surgery, watching patterns the average trainer or fitness influencer never gets to see. We see the aftermath. And when we reviewed case after case, the same exercises kept showing up again and again. Exercises every senior has heard of. It's exercises every senior thinks are safe. It's exercises promoted on morning TV shows and in health magazines without a single warning label attached. New studies are now confirming what surgeons have suspected for years. Certain exercises send dangerous surges of pressure through an aging cardiovascular system, forcing the heart to work much harder than it's built to, especially after 60, 70, or even 75, when structural fatigue starts to set in. In this video, we are going to reveal the 5 common exercises that are quietly damaging the hearts of older adults, and we'll rank them from least to most dangerous. And you'll definitely want to stick around, because number 2 was linked to a surge in cardiac events during a recent clinical review. Finding so alarming that researchers actually repeated the study twice just to confirm it. The references for the studies I'm mentioning are all listed in the description below for anyone who wants to see the data firsthand. Before we dive in, here's a quick question for you. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects millions of people who are just trying to stay healthy. We're going to talk about a super common exercise that many seniors and even younger folks swear by. But what if I told you it could be quietly putting a dangerous amount of stress on your heart? We're counting down the riskiest exercises, and today, we're starting with number 5, running on a treadmill with a steep incline. It sounds like a great idea, right? Crank up that incline, get a better workout, burn more calories. Millions of people do this every single day. But what science is telling us is that you might actually be creating a cardiovascular perfect storm that ages your heart faster with every single run. Let's break down why. When you push that treadmill incline above 7% and try to keep up your usual running pace, you're not just getting a tougher workout, you're putting your heart under triple the normal stress. Think about it. Your heart is fighting gravity to pump blood upwards. It's dealing with the constant impact of running, and it's working overtime to keep you balanced on a moving surface. It's a triple threat. Research from the American College of Cardiology is pretty shocking on this. They found that running on inclines over 7% can cause your blood pressure to spike up to 40% higher than running on a flat surface. For some people, even healthy individuals, that can mean reaching dangerous levels over 200, essentially giving yourself temporary high blood pressure that damages your arteries every time you work out. But wait, there's more. The biomechanics of incline running force you to lean forward, which makes you breathe more shallowly. Studies from UCLA show this can reduce your oxygen intake by up to 25%. Less oxygen means your heart has to pump even faster and harder to deliver what your body needs. Cardiologists call this hypoxic cardiac stress, and it's similar to the strain your heart experiences when exercising at a very high altitude. Now, here's the part that really surprised me. What do most people do when the incline gets steep? They grab onto the handles for support. Feels like it's helping, but it actually makes things worse. This triggers something called the pressor response, which activates your nervous system, constricts your blood vessels, and forces your heart to work against even more resistance, pushing your blood pressure even higher. And it doesn't stop there. That constant uphill angle often makes runners land harder on their heels. Researchers at Harvard discovered that these repeated shock waves traveling through your body can disrupt your heart's normal rhythm. This is especially risky for people over 40 whose natural cardiac pacemaker cells are already starting to decline with age. To put it all into perspective, A recent 2023 study followed 10,000 regular treadmill users. It found that those who consistently ran at inclines above 10% for more than 20 minutes showed early signs of left ventricular hypertrophy. That's a thickening of the heart wall, the same kind seen in people with chronic high blood pressure. And the scariest part, these changes started appearing after just 6 months of regular incline training. So what's the takeaway here? It's not that treadmills are bad, but using extreme inclines while trying to maintain a running pace is a recipe for long-term heart strain. There are much safer and more effective ways to boost your cardio intensity without putting your most vital organ at risk. We'll be covering those in future videos. Have you ever cranked up the treadmill incline, thinking you're getting a superior workout? You might be doing more harm than good. Incline running doesn't just torch your legs. It can create systemic inflammation throughout your cardiovascular system. Studies show that C-reactive protein levels, a key marker for inflammation, can stay elevated for up to 48 hours after an intense incline session. This keeps your heart in a constant state of stress, preventing it from properly recovering. So what's the safer way to use a treadmill? For running, keep the incline at 5% or less. If you want to use steeper grades, switch to walking. A great strategy is to limit your total incline work to just 15 minutes per session. Try alternating 1 minute of incline with 2 minutes of flat running. And please don't hold on to the handrails unless you're just quickly checking your balance. Most importantly, monitor your heart rate and try to keep it below 80% of your maximum during those incline portions. But if you think treadmill mistakes are bad for your heart, wait until you hear what happens during our next common exercise, one that almost everyone does wrong. Before we dive into that, do me a quick favor and hit that like button and subscribe. What's coming up next could completely change how you approach your fitness. All right, let's talk about the fourth most heart-damaging common exercise, the basic push-up. This sounds impossible, right? How can a simple push-up be bad for you? Well, here's the shocking part. An estimated 85% of people do them while holding their breath. This unconscious habit creates cardiovascular chaos that doctors are now linking to exercise-induced heart problems, even in otherwise healthy people. When you hold your breath during push-ups, especially as they get harder, you create something called intrathoracic pressure. This pressure can spike to 180 millimeters of mercury. It's literally crushing your heart from the outside while simultaneously starving it of the oxygen it desperately needs. Imagine that. You're trying to get stronger, but you're putting your heart under extreme duress. Research from Johns Hopkins using real-time cardiac imaging is truly eye-opening. It showed that during these breath-held push-ups, the heart's stroke volume, the amount of blood pumped with each beat, drops by up to 50%. This means your heart is only pumping half the normal amount of blood, forcing it to beat much faster to compensate. This creates the same level of stress as a cardiac emergency. Think about the traditional military-style push-up test, where you bang out as many reps as you can in a minute. This is particularly dangerous. It combines breath holding with maximum effort and time pressure. Dr. Paul Thompson from Hartford Hospital calls this a cardiac stress test that nobody should voluntarily take without medical supervision. It's that serious. Every single time you hold your breath and push up from the floor, your blood pressure skyrockets in what's known as the Valsalva effect. The pressure in your chest cavity can exceed 250/150, that is literally double what is considered a hypertensive crisis. These repeated spikes cause micro tears in your arterial walls, which accumulate over time and lead to permanent damage. The push-up position itself, with your heart below your head, adds another layer of cardiovascular stress. Your heart has to pump against gravity to get blood to your brain. When you combine this with holding your breath, you can reduce cerebral blood flow by up to 40%. This is why people often feel dizzy or see stars during intense sets of push-ups. Now, you might have heard about a study from the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology that found men who could do more than 40 push-ups had a lower risk of heart disease. But here's the crucial detail that's often missed. This benefit completely disappeared when researchers separated those who breathed properly from the breath holders. In fact, the breath holders actually showed increased markers for cardiovascular damage, despite their apparent fitness. The cumulative effect of years of doing push-ups this way is alarming. It causes arterial stiffening, which researchers can measure. They've found that regular exercisers who hold their breath during push-ups can have the arterial age of someone 15 years older than they actually are. So what's the proper way to do a push-up and protect your heart? It's all about the breath. The correct technique is to breathe in on the way down as you lower your chest to the floor. Then, as you push back up, exhale forcefully. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we read diving deep into a topic that could literally save your life. Common exercises that might be secretly damaging your heart. You might think you're doing your body good, but you could be setting yourself up for serious trouble. Let's get right into it. First up, a classic exercise most of us have done, the push-up. What could be wrong with push-ups? Well, it's all about how you breathe, or more accurately, how you don't breathe. Many people hold their breath during the toughest part of the push-up, either on the way down or pushing back up. This is a huge mistake. Holding your breath while straining, what doctors call the Valsalva maneuver, skyrockets the pressure inside your chest. This can squeeze the major veins leading to your heart, drastically reducing blood flow. Your heart then tries to compensate by beating harder and faster, but it's working with less blood. When you finally gasp for air, your blood pressure can rebound to dangerously high levels, putting immense strain on your heart and arteries. Over time, this can lead to an enlarged heart, arrhythmias, and even increase your risk of a heart attack or stroke, especially if you have underlying conditions. It's simple. Breathe out as you push up and breathe in as you lower yourself down. Never, ever hold your breath. Or find yourself struggling, break your workout into smaller sets of maybe 10 to 15 reps with short rests in between. Don't push to absolute failure. Also, keep your head in a neutral position, aligned with your spine. Dropping your head can kink the arteries in your neck and restrict blood flow to your brain. If you still can't maintain proper breathing, switch to an easier variation like inclined push-ups against a wall or a bench. The reduced difficulty will make it much easier to control your breath and protect your heart. The damage from improper breathing during push-ups is real, but our next exercise is a popular one that affects even more people. Coming in at number 3 on our list of heart-destroying exercises is high-resistance spinning or indoor cycling. I know this one's a shocker for many. Spin classes have exploded in popularity, but the way they are often taught can be incredibly dangerous. When the instructor yells at you to crank up the resistance until you can barely move the pedals, you re-putting your cardiovascular system under, a type of stress that cardiologists say is similar to the strain of severe heart disease. Think about it. You're standing up on the bike, grinding away at a super low speed with maximum effort. This creates what's called isometric cardiovascular loading. Your muscles are tensed so hard that they're actually squeezing the blood vessels within them shut. This forces your heart to generate extreme pressure to try and push blood through. Research from Northwestern University's cardiology department is truly eye-opening. They found that during these higher resistance intervals in a spin class, participants' blood pressure shot up to an average of 220/110. Some even spiked above 250/120. To put that in perspective, if you showed up at a hospital with those numbers, you'd be rushed into emergency treatment immediately. Yet, in a spin class, people are pushing themselves to these levels several times a week. The environment itself adds to the danger. The dark room, the loud, pounding music often over 100 decibels. It all triggers your body's fight or flight response. This floods your system with stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which can make your blood thicker and more prone to clotting. At the same time, your heart is more vulnerable to rhythm disturbances. Cardiologists have called this combination a perfect storm for a sudden cardiac event. What's worse is the competitive atmosphere. Instructors often shout things like "leave it all on the bike" or "push through the burn." This encourages people to ignore their body's critical warning signals. Chest tightness, extreme shortness of breath, dizziness, these are all signs you need to stop, but the environment pressures you to push through them. It's no surprise that surveys have shown a staggering 67% of regular spin class attendees have experienced these concerning cardiac symptoms and just kept going. The Journal of the American Heart Association has even published research highlighting cases where healthy individuals have suffered heart attacks and other serious cardiac problems directly linked to high-intensity spin classes. So does this mean you have to give up your favorite spin class? Not necessarily, but you need to be smart about it. The key is to listen to your body, not just the instructor. Use the resistance knob wisely. Should always be able to maintain a cadence of at least 60 to 70 RPMs. If you have to slow down to a grinding pace, the resistance is too high. Pay attention to your breathing and heart rate. If you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or have any chest pain, stop immediately. Don't be afraid to take a break or lower the resistance, no matter what anyone else is doing. Your long-term health is far more important than finishing one interval at maximum intensity. We're just getting started on our list of dangerous exercises. You won't believe what's coming up next. Did you know 2 of the most popular exercises you see at the gym, and maybe even do yourself, could be silently damaging your heart? The damage is so widespread that doctors are calling it an epidemic hiding in plain sight. Stay tuned because the number 1 exercise might shock you. Let's start with number 2, sit-ups and crunches. Yes, that classic AB workout. It seems impossible that they could be dangerous, right? Well, it turns out the way most of us do them creates a chain reaction of stress on our cardiovascular system. Here's what happens. When you pull on your neck during sit-ups or crane your head forward during crunches, you're actually compressing the major arteries and veins in your neck. According to vascular imaging studies from Duke University, this can reduce blood flow to and from your brain by up to 60%. This forces your heart to pump much harder to overcome the self-induced strangulation. It gets worse. The constant bending of your spine during traditional sit-ups creates massive spikes in internal abdominal pressure. This pressure can reach 200 millimeters of mercury. That's like having a python squeeze your heart and major blood vessels with every single rep. Cardiologists even have a name for this: repetitive cardiac compression syndrome, which can damage the heart's electrical system over time. Think more reps are better? Research from the Cleveland Clinic found that during sets of 50 or more sit-ups, blood pressure can spike to dangerous levels and stay elevated for up to 30 minutes after you've redone. This keeps your cardiovascular system in a state of crisis long after your workout has ended. Then there's the breathing. Most people exhale forcefully on the way up. This creates rapid pressure changes in your chest that can affect the vagus nerve, potentially leading to a condition called vasovagal syncope. That's where your heart rate suddenly drops and you can actually pass out. Emergency rooms report hundreds of cases of sit-up-induced fainting every year. And when you combine pulling on your neck with holding your breath, which happens naturally when sit-ups get tough, you're recreating a double whammy for your heart. Your brain gets less blood, while your heart struggles against immense internal pressure. A long-term study on military personnel who did daily sit-ups found they had 40% more plaque buildup in their neck arteries compared to those who did other core exercises. This suggests the repetitive neck compression directly contributes to hardening of these critical arteries. So what's the safer way to train your core? Swap sit-ups for exercises like planks, which keep your spine in a neutral position. Try dead bugs or bird dogs. They work your abs without any neck bending. If you absolutely must do crunches, cross your hands over your chest, never behind your head. Keep your sets short, around 15 to 20 reps, and focus on slow, controlled movements instead of fast, jerky ones. Now, brace yourself for the number 1 most dangerous common exercise. Studies show this single exercise is responsible for more exercise-related cardiac events than all others combined. The number 1 most heart-destroying common exercise that has cardiologists issuing urgent warnings is the burpee. That seemingly simple move, squat, plank, push-up, jump, creates absolute cardiovascular chaos when done at high speeds, which is how most people do them. When you rapidly go from standing to planking to jumping, your heart experiences what Dr. Aaron Bagish from Massachusetts General Hospital calls cardiovascular whiplash. In less than 2 seconds, your blood pressure swings wildly, from low in the plank to dangerously high during the jump. These pressure waves literally slam through your arteries like a hydraulic hammer. A groundbreaking Stanford study found that during high-speed burpees, the heart's pumping action becomes so erratic that it loses coordination. Different parts of the heart muscle start working against each other, reducing its pumping efficiency by up to 40%, even while it's working 3 times harder. Every time you drop into the plank, blood rushes to your head. Then, when you explosively jump up, blood drains from your brain so quickly that its blood supply can drop by 50%. This roller coaster of brain blood flow has been linked to an increased risk of stroke. So, while burpees might feel like a great workout, doing them at high speed is like playing Russian roulette with your heart. The combination of extreme pressure swings and erratic heart function is a recipe for disaster. If these insights were helpful, Please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more content that could protect your health. Thanks for watching.